Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Experts. Today, this is Jack and me, but today we're going to talk about the Mandalorian season 3 finale, our thoughts, what predictions came true, what predictions did kind of fail, and what we thought of the overall season and what Star Wars should do forward after this. So, Jack, you want to start us off?
Gotcha. So first thing we're going to talk about today on the podcast, we're going to go over some predictions that came true. So we'll just kind of go based off what we said last episode. If y'all watched last episode, we'll go through all of our predictions again. But I guess one of the main ones that I guess me and you got right was that Grogu was going to use the Force more.
Yeah.
We predicted that we were going to get some cool Force action shots. I was hoping he was going to crush some more robots and stuff, but I will take a really beautiful scene of him blocking the fire with the Force, saving Din Djarin and Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I love that scene. It was just a throwback to Rebel when Kanan, not Kanan, but Kanan was saving the Rebel crew from the Empire when they're all about to burn alive, and it's a great scene. Also, what I thought was really hilarious was when Grogu was just laughing when the guards were just chasing him, like on.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I can't tell if he's like freaking out or if he's just like they're not gonna get me anyway. He's just running around. I mean, he did get trapped by that metal bar, and it was a emotional scene when Din came in and saved him. I liked how it was he came in and saved Din, and then Din came in and saved him. So it's like a full circle moment.
Yeah, at one point I thought like, uh-oh, are they really about to kill Grogu? Because
Yeah,
like,
when he got trapped, I mean, the Praetorian Guard did the full chop
yeah,
shot. So I was happy. Thank God Grogu's not dead, or Din Grogu now.
yeah, thank God. I mean.
Spoiler for the end.
One thing I think we totally missed is that there was no spy and no one major died besides Moff Gideon.
Yeah, we just shot just straight missed. There was not even a reference to a traitor. I guess it was just one of those things you just kind of feel it in Star Wars. Plus, I mean, when you're bringing two groups of people in together that didn't really like each other, I guess there's always that kind of like root for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good that there wasn't. So it was a pure like one side versus one side battle. You had the Empire and Moff Gideon on one side, and then the other side you had all the Mandalorians. They're all fighting for it. So it was a good scene.
Yeah, it was a good scene. I mean, what kept me like I don't know. Like this episode for me was like underwhelming per se. Like I know like we were all hyped for this finale because like the Mandalorian series has been good with the finale so far, but like this one was just like okay, like this kind of felt like not really a filler episode, but like not a finale type of.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I think that we've been spoiled in terms of finale episodes for the past couple of years, past seasons, because usually there's always some massive cliffhanger and that kind of thing. But I feel like they made it different with this season because it showed like they actually had accomplished something. Like past seasons, you've gotten the huge reveals, that kind of stuff. And this season, it was more, I guess this finale was more tame in terms of people dying, that kind of stuff, which is another prediction we got wrong. Thought somebody was going to die. There wasn't really I guess from what they shown, there wasn't a significant loss on the
No,
Mandalorian side, at least.
no, it wasn't really. I mean, I don't know. I just think Andor that came out this past year was a way better than the season Mandalorian. I don't know if you've seen Andor, but Andor is really great. I thought it really showed what people liked about the Mandalorian first was like how dark and like grimy Star Wars can be. That's how it Andor did perfectly. And there's like this season we kind of like shied away from that type of Star Wars, which I kind of felt was like kind of like a waste in a way. Like this show has always been like a father son relationship show. This season we kind of like shoot away from that. But at the end of the episode, it's basically setting up in the forward that we're gonna see this more often with him having his own hut on Navarro and asking the New Republic for missions, which I personally enjoyed, which I personally thought was a highlight of this episode, even though it's like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think the last 10 to 15 minutes of the episode were some of the best, I guess, screenwriting and setup for the next season. Because I mean, it really does get you excited. It goes back to season one and a little bit of season two, where it's just Din and Grogu going around, or Din Grogu, his apprentice, going around and just exploring, because that's the thing he needs to get experience, because he has to be able to survive and navigate the universe by himself, like later on. So I like that they've kind of set the expectation for next season as something we didn't get a lot of this season, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. This season was more about bringing all of Mandalore together so you could have the planet back, that group of people. So I'm excited about next season. We'll hopefully see some more exploring and some new
Yeah,
creatures is what I'm excited about. Creatures, especially, yeah, you're right. Well, we'll talk about it in a second, but another prediction is we said that maybe there would be some sort of New Republic kind of thing. We stated that Carson Tava was going to be in the episode, which he was. So
yeah,
we were both excited about that. I saw him come on screen. That was hype. So I'm excited. He's getting some New Republic missions. Yeah. So hopefully he'll be taking out some crazy creatures or Imperial people. So it'll be cool.
yeah. I just see like Dave Filoni just going to his roots after this episode. Like when he did in the Clone Wars, you traveled to multiple planets, met new creatures. What's he gonna do with Mando and Grogu? You're gonna see new planets on the Outer Rim with some new creatures. Well, probably planets we've been to, but in live action. That would be pretty sick to see.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping for is they bring in some of the planets that we've maybe seen in Clone Wars or anything on the Outer Rim and they bring it to a live action
Yeah.
film, and we get to really see I guess their take and their design on some of those creatures and the planets. I think it's going to be hopefully a really good season.
Right. I mean, I'm also like what we said earlier, our predictions were right that we said we're gonna see the mythosaur, but
Mhm.
like we didn't see it fully, but we saw like a glimpse of him in the water when Grogu was kind of looking down at the water, which is kind of like symbolizing is Grogu gonna be the one that ride him? Maybe we don't know.
Never know. I don't know. I think they could have done a little bit with it, but I like that they're keeping it where it's a myth. It's staying down there. It's not just like coming up and doing stuff. I like that it stays down there kind of hidden.
Yeah, I mean, my only gripe is for the future of the show is that I hope it just stays with Grogu and Din. I don't want it to go back to Bo-Katan and the Kree because they finished their story arc. They got Mandalore back. Now the story arc's just still with Din and Grogu on how they're gonna complete their arc of father and son, and Grogu of being his apprentice. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And it goes back to the same thing. They did that a lot in season one, where it
yeah,
was you're new to the whole Mandalorian show and it's just going around and really just drawing in fans, because you've got Din and Grogu going on experiences doing stuff together. I mean, so hopefully that'll be sort of the same thing that happens in season four, where we get a lot more adventures and stuff that mostly pertains to them and their adventures instead of maybe Mandalore as a whole or, yeah, Bo Katan.
I mean, I what I really liked about this episode as well is that we actually saw Din as the badass he was in the season one and season two. Like the action in this episode, I think was like the best action we got all season. Just seeing Din like killing all those Imperial like troopers and seeing that flashback to like not really flashback, but you kind of knew like kind of like a different element of like Phantom Menace with those doors and R5 getting his heroic like thing done.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with R5 and him coming down, because, when we were first shown him, I guess
Yeah.
that would be 3 episodes ago, when he's going down to scout Mandalore, he's like this scared, cowardly droid. He's like, I'm not going in that cave. So I don't blame him. I ain't going in the cave either. So, but when he went down into the base and really proved himself, I guess, to Mando, because Mando was, he doesn't like droids, but he's like, I'm counting on you. So it's good that we got to see, like, I guess, a full circle moment for R5 too, where he's going out of his comfort zone and really helping the team.
Yeah, to open the team. I mean, I thought like I mean, going back to the action scene with Din, like he had no weapon, he just took down all those troopers and used the weapons from those dead troopers to keep on moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a really good scene. And you're right. That's probably the best fight scenes and all that stuff that we've seen this season. I don't think there's been another episode that's really shown those type of fight scenes where you can see the emotion. And you're right, when he doesn't have a weapon, I mean, he has to be capable. He's a bounty hunter. So I like that it slowly goes through it. And also like, yeah, you're right. It was definitely a reference to the doors, where they're slowly opening. You see on one side,
Yeah.
you if you're the stormtrooper from that perspective, you're just watching them get wiped out and the doors are like slowly opening as he's coming close to you. So I thought it was a really good scene.
What also like kind of like spooked me out in a way is when we finally see like the clones of Moff Gideon himself, and then just Grogu looking at it and his eyes just popping off at
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Then they
As it
just
comes closer to frame, it slowly zooms in. So you start to see the picture more clearly and you realize it's Moff Gideon. Because I know me and you were both like hoping that maybe we would see some reference of bringing back Maul, bringing back some kind of other Sith. So, I mean, it was cool seeing Moff Gideon because he's extremely self centered and he's probably doesn't want to clone Maul. He's obviously interested in cloning himself and giving himself the Force.
yeah. That was cool. It
I
was
mean, why
cool.
not?
It was cool for him to like to explain it, but once we saw him go against Din, I thought Din was gonna die for a second.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I like that it showed the struggle of him trying to fight somebody else in Beskar armor, but it also, I mean, he had hydraulics, all kinds of stuff. That suit was crazy. I mean, it was like a armor, like it's like a Beskar battle droid that
Yeah,
he can control.
and we saw with Bo-Katan, she couldn't even kill him with the dark saber, and he broke the dark saber.
Yeah,
So
just shattered it, which I like that because it will get rid of that, because Bo-Katan, I feel like, has been established as the leader. She doesn't need the dark saber anymore. So I thought it was cool that that was their way of kind of pushing that to the side to just show Bo-Katan as the leader that brought both the groups together.
yeah, and like what you said, like Bo-Katan's story arc's like fully completed now, which is
Yeah,
good.
exactly. Like all of her redemption is back. Like she's redeemed herself and returned like her family's name to honor.
Yeah,
So it is a full circle. Like she doesn't need the dark saber anymore.
that's cool. I agree, but like here's one thing that underwhelmed me. It was like I was hoping for a good space fight. I did not get that. I just got just these TIE fighters and these bomb destroyers just shooting up the ship and just
Yeah, just
Alex Wolf just
dominating
trying
it.
to survive, just not trying to get blown up. I was
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I understand why they didn't do a scene in space, because they were extremely outnumbered when it comes to like ships. I
yeah,
mean, they were
but
50 TIE fighters and they had like a couple bombers and then the light cruiser, which another prediction we made was that the cruiser was not going to survive.
yeah.
Whenever you see a Star Wars cruiser that low in orbit, it's coming to the ground.
I
So,
mean, we've seen this in Clone Wars. Like we saw like one like light cruiser survive against like some of these before, but we also seen the Clone Wars where a big Venator just goes right down to the ground on the planet. Like so, like we saw both, and I like how like they show that Din Grogu and Bo-Katan couldn't kill Moff Gideon by himself. Basically, all of them had to use all the powers to almost kill him, and it had to take like Axe Wolf to fully bring down a light cruiser to fully kill him in the fire or the
yeah, I mean,
explosion, I should say.
exactly. I think it shows how strong. I think it's how strong-willed Mob Gideon is. Like he's just not gonna stop.
Yeah,
Which I don't know if it's been confirmed that he's like dead or not. You know how Star Wars is. God knows we'll see him in a Bacta tank or something, slowly healing from being burnt to a crisp or something. So
one of
I
his
don't know. From the scene, it looked like he was just absolutely obliterated. So who knows?
maybe one of his clones survived when they blew up.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really talking about predictions, but I would say like to set a tone for the first and second episode of season 4, I think we're going to get some kind of new villain reveal, because there's not really an established leader right now, at least on the side of the Sith and stuff. So I would expect some sort of conflict to pop up, especially with him going to the Outer Rim and doing some New Republic missions. I think something's going to come up.
Yeah, but you also have to think, is Din gonna fail because we know the outcome of the story.
I
Because
don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be, I think they have a lot of options in terms of writing, and I'm sure that they've already done that. They're just waiting, trying to refine some things, but I'm excited about it.
we also got that Dave Filoni movie coming out soon that's supposed to conclude all of this. So that should be exciting. I mean, all right. Honestly, what do you give this finale rating, and like, what would you think you would do better if you
For
had
this
that?
season, I think it's probably the best, if not the second best episode of the whole season. The fight scenes, I don't think that there's been a better like choreographed fight from this season. So I mean, I would give it like an 8. I think it's good. It was a little bit like underwhelming in terms of like finale. You know, a big Star Wars. I think that's just from previous seasons with the Mandalorian. There's always been some crazy stuff go down. You know, huge cliffhangers. So to not have that this season, I mean, it was good in a way, but at the same time, you were expecting it. So I'm not gonna like give it a super low rating just because of that. I think that most of the things were really good. The cinematography was amazing. The graphics were really good. You know, I think it was overall an 8.
All right. I mean, my thing is that we like everyone was hyping this up. Everyone was like, "Oh, season 3 is gonna be great. The finale is gonna be great." I think the finale is like the best episode that we got, and it's like a 7.5 or like a solid like 7. Like I felt like underwhelmed. Like after I watched this, like I know it's a good thing that you're craving wanting more, but I wanted more from that episode, not more for what's out there, but more from that episode because we had like people were like, okay, like are we gonna see like I want to see like a someone dying, like I want to see like a sacrifice because like one major character should not die from you capturing a planet back that's your home planet, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that I mean it was definitely one of the shorter episodes. I mean, a 41-minute runtime is
Yeah,
pretty small for Mandalorian. You know, we're out here getting 56-minute episodes midway through the season. So I was expecting something mid 50s, maybe like higher 49 minutes, but I saw 41. It's like, oh gosh, they're gonna pack in some action, you know, and they did. I just feel like they could have added a couple things that maybe had drawn it out a little more, added a little bit more emotion into the fight.
I mean like you said, this was a short episode and compared to the other ones, it kind of felt rushed to a point. Like you kind of felt like you were rushing to the end, not really like slowing down. It only slowed down that last 10 to 15 minutes when Din was going talking to the New Republic about how he wants to be a bounty hunter for hire for the New Republic and that he wants to search the Outer Rim with his apprentice. So like I don't know. I wish they added like a little bit more to the fight. I wish we like I don't know, like I wish there was like a sacrifice play. I wish like Axel Wolf would have died somehow, but like somehow he escapes all those TIE fighters and bombers from dying and then survives that like cruiser like destroying and
Yeah, I
flash.
mean, he played a lot bigger part than I think either one of us were expecting. But I mean, you have to think about it. He was the leader, you know, when Bo-Katan, or he took over for Bo-Katan, you know, so they obviously trusted him.
Yeah.
He got a lot bigger part than we thought, you know, with him getting everybody out of the ship and him bringing it down. I thought it was a good scene. And I guess I understand him not dying, you know, because he has a jetpack, he could get out of there. So, I mean, I think you're right. It was a little bit underwhelming, and I think they could have added a little more. But in terms of other than that, I think that mostly everything was great. The fight scenes were really good. Even the set designs, like the design of that hangar with how it all flowed together, I thought it was really good.
I mean, all right, let me ask you this. What do you want like Star Wars to go like after this now? Like since we see the season 3 finale, what do you want them to do with the Mandalorian now? Like do you
I mean, I just really would like just you know, Grogu and Din to explore a little bit and maybe like bring in like I think that they're going to go back to some sort, you know, they're setting up for that. They're hinting at it when he's going to the New Republic saying, I want to help, but off the record, you know, because Carson Davis says that that would never get approved, you know. So him doing it off the record, I think that maybe he's going to go out, and I hope that this is what they do, where they bring in, maybe they're going to a planet for a certain person, and they find out like, oh, the Empire is huge here, you know, because you had all the leaders of the Shadow, you know, they're all there. So maybe somewhere on the Outer Rim, Din is out there with Grogu. They're exploring, doing something. They stumble upon a huge Imperial base, and they're like, "Oh crap!" You know. we have a real problem here. But if they report it to the New Republic, maybe they don't believe them, that kind of thing. So maybe they go back to Mandalore, ask for help. I think they have a lot of options in terms of what they could do.
Yeah, like for me, like I want 'em, like to focus like what you said more on Dan and Grogu, but I also want them like to clarify some loose pieces from the sequels as well. Like I want to see like how the First Order like rose up from the New Republic. I also want to see like why did some parents send their kids to First Order like trooper training when they were so young? Because we heard that from Finn and a lot of people that their children were sent off, like these kids were for like no reason at all. And I also want to see like we saw some glimpses of it in the sequel trilogy of Luke's like Jedi temple failing, but I
Mhm.
want to see that as like peak, like kind of like after like Grogu left. Like I
Yeah,
want
I think that would be really cool if they could do that. I don't know if they would be able to, but I think if they would show that kind of stuff, that it definitely would fill a lot of holes, and it would make it where everything ties in. And I think it would bring the Mandalorian like up more so that it would all connect together. So I think that would be a really cool thing to add in for next season.
yeah also show like and this is more outlandish, but show how like Snoke was like became the lead guy and all
Oh
that.
yeah, that would be imagine that would be an absolutely insane thing to see.
Yeah, I mean
I
we
mean, you
all
never know, especially on the outer rim. There's all kinds of stuff happening. I mean, Moff Gideon had like 8 clones of himself, so who knows?
yeah, someone's definitely cloning. Like we can kind of see that he was kind of supposed to be a clone of Palpatine, but like
Hmm.
we can just know.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's another thing that I was kind of expecting, at least from when Moff Gideon was talking to them about cloning. Like, I thought that, yeah, he'd be trying to clone himself, but I wish that, like, because when you walk in, you've got the pods on either side. I think it would have been cool if, like, maybe, there was some Moff Gideon clones, but that
yeah,
there was also some, like, different things on the left side, like maybe we had seen some sort of attempt to clone Maul or attempt to clone someone else. I thought that would have been cool to add in there instead of just all Moff Gideons.
yeah. I mean, he's just like you said earlier. He's some self-centered. He just wants power for himself. We saw that last episode too, when he was in that meeting with all the Imperial like staff people, like saying he wants all the power on him. Like no more for that project. My project's the best one. And why are you questioning my cloning thing? Like that was like way back, and New Republic has it, and I've already fixed that problem. But now Moff Gideon's gone. But I don't know. That's all I gotta say about this like finale. I don't know what else you gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, overall, great episode. I think, like in terms of finale, it was a little bit lackluster, but it was an excellent episode in the Mandalorian series. Definitely would watch again. Probably will watch again. So.
I mean, if you had to rank the three finales, which like where would you rank them?
I
Like,
mean, this one I would probably be last just because the first two were just unreal. I'd probably do second season at the top and then first season in
I'm
the middle.
I like the first season a little bit more because it reminds me of a Western, like a good
That's
Western.
fair.
And then I like the second one because of like Luke, but then the third one's last.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the second one more. Is just, I mean, Luke coming in, that whole scene, I think is just excellent. So that's why I got to put it at the top.
Yeah, I agree. And both season one, season two finales are great, but this one was just good in my opinion. But I mean, you're not gonna get perfect every single time,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think they did well with what they did.
Yeah, me too. I think that them rounding out the series, it felt a little bit as if like it was a goodbye.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
I'm sure I have no doubt that they'll get renewed for a season 4 because
Yeah,
the writers had said they were already working on it and that kind of thing. So I don't think that we're gonna like have this as a last episode. And I think that that's what they're also kind of banking on, was that this like closed out that little section of like Mandalorian.
yeah.
Like you got the Great Forge going. The armor didn't turn. We didn't talk about that as much this episode, but the armor wasn't a traitor.
I was disappointed with that. I
It
still don't
showed
think.
her a lot though. Even when she had came down from the dropship, you got to see her go with the pack. So I was like, oh
Yeah,
gosh, here we go. And she's about to just go crazy. But I
she
mean, it
go.
turned out good. So
You saw her go like ham on those like imperial like.
yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. That scene with them coming in, 10 out of 10. I thought it was amazing. The scene, I mean, it wasn't really a scene with her and just Bo-Katan,
The
but the
whole
way that the clips were put together,
yeah.
I thought it just went perfectly where she was using the dark saber as if to signify like her side of Mandalore, and then the armor is using her stuff to like kind of signify the Children of the Watch and how they're coming together to both fight
Yeah,
Moff Gideon's troops and stuff.
that was really good. And we were both wrong that no one was gonna save Din. He saved himself in the very first couple minutes of the
Yeah,
episode.
I guess we knew. First off, like, how are you gonna? You just captured Din Djarin. You've been trying to get him for, I guess, time period 6 episodes. You've been trying to find him, and then you're gonna leave 2 guards with him.
Yeah.
2 guards? What? So I think that was a little bit of plot armor, I guess, to get out of it because 2 guard. And how did Grogu sneak past? I mean,
Yeah.
he just got past everybody. He's just there.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I'm glad that they had. Oh, that's another big prediction that we were right about is that we said that there was going to be a father son fight scene. And I was like, maybe it has the Praetorian guards, we'll see. And it did. So I liked that scene. I thought it was
Yeah.
well choreographed and stuff.
Also, yeah, what happened? Like Grogu was behind the doors when didn't get captured, and that door stayed closed. So how did Grogu get
Yeah.
past?
He's just around. He's just there. I mean, I'm sure there's some way, but at the time, he has no idea how to get to him. So like maybe the force helped him. I don't know. He just kind of showed up.
And what you know what I also liked is when Moff was looking at his eye like keypad, not really keypad, but like the like map of his base. You can see like Grogu has a little green dot. I thought that
Yeah,
was
I know. And Din is the big red one. I think
yeah,
that's honestly maybe that could signify from where he was tracking him earlier and he still has use for Grogu, but he's done with Din. He's ready to kill Din. But he might maybe if it had went a different way, maybe that's their way or the director's way of showing that he still wanted Grogu for something because he did talk about having the Force in his clones.
yeah, I can
Well,
see that.
yeah. I mean, also he was pissed when he destroyed his clones. Or I mean, I thought that scene was excellent. So you could see the emotion on his face. Like he was visibly shaking because he was so mad that they had just killed all of his clones. He spent so much time. I mean, he even wiped his scientists so that he could be the only one that knew about it, and then just destroyed all of them.
Yeah. I mean, his officer knows about it still, but like, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, I mean, she's one droid shot away from dying, though. I
She
don't
has
think
no
it'd be
plot
that
armor.
hard to take her out.
She has no plot armor. What's she gonna do? I mean, I think that wraps it up for today. I think,
Yeah, I mean, overall, great episode. Definitely would give it a watch. Probably shouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen it already. A lot of spoilers, but excellent episode.
spoilers. I mean, once you guys finish season three, come back and watch it. But I think later this Friday we should have another podcast coming out. If you guys want to stay tuned for that, or we're just gonna be talking about our movie reviews for Air and Super Mario Brothers movie, and other entertainment coming out soon. So
Yeah, we're going to be doing a couple different things. Obviously, this is the finale for season 3 of The Mandalorian, and we'll be coming back for season 4. But we're going to be doing a bunch of different movies. Definitely some of the Star Wars movies that are upcoming, that kind of thing. We're going to do Air, Mario movie. Yeah, if y'all got any other ideas, drop some comments below or just hit one of us up. Let us know what you're excited it's coming out
yeah.
in the future.
And also, if you guys have any TV show that you guys want us to watch, just drop it down. We'll start watching that TV show and reviewing each episode. But I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. So I hope I see you guys Friday.
These guys.